Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Good Morning Education Show, the weekend special. And we are here once again. Such a pleasure to be here, and I believe that we're going to be having a great time. Just in case you join us for the first time, this is the Good Morning Education Show. If you're wondering, this is not morning, this is evening. Well, yes, on Saturdays and Sundays we have a special edition of the show and also a different timing. So on Saturdays, you can catch us 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And on Sunday, we spend our time in the evening, 5 p.m. in the evening, sorry, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. And that's what we do. The Good Morning Education Show is a show that brings together, experts who share their thoughts and their views on the subject matter of education, within the world of education, around the world of education. And it's going to be a great time together on the show. Please feel free to send in your contributions as we have conversation, ask your questions on the show, and we'll be excited to take and treat your question on the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. Today, we're going to be having an interesting topic, and for some time now, we'll be talking about how to. We'll be tackling series that empowers the individual, but we don't just stop at empowering the individual. We talk about also equipping the individual. And one of the things we'll be doing tonight um, um, is to talk about something that is quite important for people to get better grasp and understanding of. And this is what we're going to do tonight. And I believe that it's going to be a great time as well. Um, Thankfully, we are here and we've put together this show because it's just for you. And I believe that for those who watch the replay, it's also providing you the opportunity to learn, to glean, to hear, to share, and to grow. And of course, if it's your first time, please do let us know so that we can also share with you what we call our bell of blessing moments. That's what we do on the show this evening. We will be having an interesting topic tonight, and we're talking about running successful projects. Running successful projects. And I believe that this is a topic um, that everyone will learn from. Projects are part of life. Projects are part of work. Projects are part of our profession and our job. And if you're going to run successful projects, or if you're going to have successful project, you must know how to run it. And if you're going to run successful project, you must understand the dynamics required to run successful project. Project can empower, project can envelop you, project can project you, project can improve your outcomes, output, profiting as well. It can actually position you to get the best of outcomes. And tonight we will be talking about everything that has to do with projects. And I believe that we'll be joined by our guests and analysts as time permits. And we will try to also make it a show that we do not drag. We go straight to the point. We probably try to finish before the hour so that you can catch up on a Sunday as well. But we want to appreciate you for being a part of the show. Thank you for joining us and also lending your voice. So, what are projects? I think that's the very first thing that people might need to understand. Projects can be considered to be different things, but I would like to analyze what projects truly mean from different perspectives. We can look at a project as a task. We can look at a project as a bundle of work of assignment that you want to carry out or execute. Project can also be a summary of workload. Sometimes you could call projects initiatives that you drive into seek desired outcomes. But whatever it is, you're seeking to achieve something with it. And in some cases, project can be considered mainstreaming of tasks and assignments and activities. So your work can be a project, your business can be on project. It sometimes can be segmented in such a way where you have a business having sub task that is identified as project. And whatever the definition you want to choose to push and pass across to what project truly means, then you must be mindful of the fact that we must be mindful of the fact of what projects truly connote. It connotes several things with several people, and I feel that we must be aware, of what it is, as it were. When we say that we have projects, so I believe that that's really what we want to try to achieve, and I know that that's what we're going to achieve in the next few moments. So, like, now you helped me define what projects are. You know, so of course, now that we know what would the reasons to run successful projects, um, and the reason for running successful projects is because you want to achieve success. Pretty much, that's the truth about it. Success is more or less like a yardstick, of any meaningful thing that you get involved in. You know. So, um, our goal is that if we run a project, if we run a business, the outcome of such businesses, the outcome of such projects should be success, right? Um, and success means different things to different people, right? Success means different things. For whatever your parameters for success, you know, is truly achieved, really. That's the idea behind it. And of course, as we go along the conversation, you begin to realize some of the things that I'm saying. And I'd like to use the opportunity to welcome Folo. Good evening, Folo. Welcome to the Good Morning Education Show, the weekend special. And I don't understand the smile on your face. Um, we're talking about running successful projects. So you're welcome. Over to you.
Okay, I'm seeing ice cream behind you, so I'm happy. It's ice cream brings joy.
You said?
Ice cream makes anybody happy. I'm seeing ice
Please,
cream behind you, and I'm
please,
happy.
please.
Also beside you.
Focus, 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 focus.
Ice cream brings joy. So yeah, it's a joyful afternoon, joyful evening, joyful day on the Good Morning Education show. Yeah, I think this is a lot of inspiration this evening. Yeah.
Running successful projects, ice cream project. You scream ice cream, we all scream for ice cream. All right. So,
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about running successful projects, I had done in the introduction a definition of what you consider what a project is. And I took a step further to explain that it's important for us to understand why projects need to be successful. Because success means different things to different people. Success means different things to different organizations. Success means different things to different professionals. Or whatever success means to you is important that your project, as long as you're engaged in it, is essential to you to have it successful. So let's go straight to the point. What are the factors that contribute to having successful projects? Over to you.
Okay. To what contributes to a successful project management or project running? There are quite a number of there are quite a number of reasons, or a number of factors that contribute to it. And one very critical factor is who is running the project, who the team or the person running the project. So you can't give a project to somebody that they are not suited to run, or that they're not equipped to run. So for example, I know that I am not somebody who finds figures interesting. I'd rather work with people. I'd rather work on activities than sit down with figures and all of that. So if you give me a project that essentially has to do with figures crunching, numbers and all of that, I may not be able to run it successfully. So it's always essential that we put the right people or the right team in place to run a project. It's not about their position. We're not looking at it like, oh, in maybe a school they have a project to run, and then we now assign roles to people based on their how long they have been in the school. So, oh, this person is has been here for longer than this one, so they're the ones that are supposed to handle this. Not looking at their suitability not looking at their suitability to that project that you want to hand over to them. Another thing that makes running a project successful is the approach. How are you approaching it? Are you going through it methodically, or it's just okay, so this looks good, though this sounds good, this should appear good on the project, and then just pump it in and just throw it in. Those are some of the things that make a project success, because if you just take it haphazardly and just do it because it feels good or because it looks good or sounds good, you may find out that you run into problems at the end of the day, and then the project is not able to be completed or to be executed successfully. There are quite a number of reasons, or there are quite a number of factors that contribute to running successful projects. But I think I'll just stay on this two and I yield the floor. Thank you.
And bask in the euphoria of the ice cream atmosphere. All right,
And
while you're
then,
speaking, Olushala will be joining us. Good evening,
Yeah,
sir.
good evening, good evening, good evening, people. Good evening, Rotimi, good evening.
good
You
evening,
guys are
sir.
talking about ice cream eatery. I think I'm the only one not inside the eatery. Oh. What's going on?
I'm not
You
in
guys
the ice
didn't.
cream place, so I'm
Okay,
not. It's
okay, okay.
torturing me with ice cream
Oh,
pictures
sorry,
in the
sorry,
background.
sorry. Because I'm like, you guys didn't tell me the show today will be at the ice cream joint and whatever.
I
Welcome
mean,
to
I
the
would have
show
showed
and
up.
good evening to all our tribe members.
It's part of
Thank you.
creativity. All right, so we're talking about running successful projects, and they have shared some importance or well factors that contribute to running successful projects. I'd like to hear from you as well. What factors do you think contributes to running successful projects?
Uh, Thank you. I think when you are talking about successful project, there is no, I will not talk about some element or concept of project management. Starting from initiating the project design. Then, however, the project is meant to be consumer or client oriented or the beneficiary oriented. If you are embarking on a project just because you want to do a project without factoring those who will use the project into the equation, the thing may be dead on arrival. And at times when you allow the people to own the project, there is this emotional bonding that makes them to see themselves as owners, and therefore they key into it. If you just give them project, I'm talking from government project now. If you just give them project without due consultation, some of them will tell you they don't want. Even though that project is important, they rebel and they rebuff the thing. And by the time they gang up, three, four, five people and who are the head of the clan are trying to tell the people, no, don't let them put that in here. Even though you had the best of intention, if you don't factor in the people that will use the project, I think the project may not serve it. So from the initiation, the project design, and of course, we need to realize that the project comes out in prototypes. So you release it, let people have a feel. We've seen a lot of brands do that. They release that particular product in society, let people use and make their comment. It's not because it is the final, it's for them to go back and work on the observation of the client. In the case of the school setting or education setting, maybe because it is service oriented. That notwithstanding, we must think about the beneficiary of people who are the clients to make use of it. So initiation, then we talk about project design. Of course, we talk about monitoring and evaluation. If there is any variance, we want to work on it so that we can really get desired results. And at the end of the day, the project must be able to achieve its purpose, or else money will have been wasted. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. It's very important that people know that projects can be successful and there are factors that contribute to project success. But I'd like us to take another aspect in running successful projects. I'd like me to address this issue. Um, of course, we know that we cannot run away from the issue of resources. Resources. How strategic can one be in ensuring and guaranteeing that the project is adequately, you know, laced and infused with resources? Let's talk about project resources. How can one come about it? How can one achieve it? Because sometimes that's the reason why some people don't even start, continue, advance, or complete projects. Over to you, Fran.
Okay, so I wasn't hearing you very well, but are we talking about resource sourcing, or resource management? Management. Okay. Okay.
All of
So
them.
okay. To source resources for projects, one of the very key things is, like I mentioned before, who is handling the project. So if you have the right person or the right team handling the project, sourcing of resources becomes a whole lot more easier for them or for the person. If you put the somebody who is resourceful at using things that are available to them, human resources, um, all the resources are available to them. So I may not know where to get something, but I could know somebody who might know where I can get it. But if I'm not good with communication, with interpersonal relationship, and all of that, what I could get from people, I would shy away from it or say, no, I don't talk to this person, or I don't relate to that person. So it makes it very difficult to access resources. Meanwhile, resources are available for us everywhere. Getting them, this thing they say about there's just one person, or there's one person that knows one person that you need to get to, or one, there are two people or so between you and the person that you really need to get to. The sourcing for resources requires the project manager or the project team to be to be creative also in their approach, in finding the right thing, in knowing, oh, this is the channel, they chart out the project and are able to say, what do we need at every phase of this project? Who can we get that will help us get these resources at the best possible price without without compromising on quality? And then if we don't know the person directly, how else can we access these resources? And then managing the resources is at apportioning to each part of the project what is needed, giving allowance for a little extra, a little wiggle room. So either a -5 and a +5, or maybe a -2 and a +2, a -10 and a +10, whatever variable we want to put in the management of the resource, or in apportioning and assigning the resources to the project. One very important thing is that it's essential for us to manage resources very well. If not, we'll run out of steam, or we find out that a lot of money is going into getting things that are needed. A lot of money is going into acquiring materials and resources, and we probably are not seeing the results in the project if those resources are not well managed. So it's very essential, like I said initially, that the people or handling that project are well equipped to manage all the different phases of the project, the resources, both human and material, the outcomes, the timelines, the deadlines, all of those things, that they're properly equipped to manage them. Thank you.
Thank you, Fee. And I'd like to ask Olushola, I know that there are two key components. Also taking a bit of what's being said, assigning roles. How do we get to do that? Then assessing risk, assigning roles and assessing risk. I know that there are times that projects require also to assess the risk, because sometimes you might realize that there are certain things that you might need to avoid, or there are certain things you need to plan for. So over to you. Assigning roles and avoiding risk.
Thank you very much. It is has always been said that the human resources appear to be the most important resource that we have. Ability to assign individual to task and roles matters a lot, because take it or leave it, even though we have technology here and there, where there are still situations whereby human beings have to drive those technologies. So I want to believe success begins when you are able to put the right person on the right project. It's not a square peg in a round hole. It's not a politicking. It is not because, oh, I like the face of so and so, but it is the case that the person's experience, knowledge, and expertise can come to be. There are, take for example, alternatives we can have when it comes to other resources. Or somebody want to construct a road that is asphalt, that is bitumen, then in order to save cost, or somebody feels, oh, looking at this, will a 2x2 plank work? Like I have an experience, somebody was like, I was talking to somebody who said, oh, instead of buying a 2x2, 2x3, and 2x4, he now said, do you know that if you buy 2x7, one 2x7, one 2x7 will give you three 2x3 and one 2x2. That tells you that you have been able to save money. Yes, they are going to a sort of saw the wood. That even the people who are going to sell the thing for what they call for you 2x3, they will sell 2x3 for you, but it's only one 2x7 they will slash into three, and they will collect money for each. That is where experience comes in. And if you look at the money with which to buy one plank of 2x7 and sawing it into three 2x3, if you add the money together, it's way below the amount you are going to spend buying three 2x3. So that tells you that we can, in a way, manage financial resources and some other resources and still preserve quality, because in a bid to manage resources, we must not compromise standard. That becomes another issue now. That brings me to the issue of risk. Yes, we can't rule out risk. However, we can minimize risk. And going by the resources at hand, it is good to sit down and plan. Oh, we budgeted, we're going to use this type of roofing sheet, but can we have something closer that will still serve the same purpose and cheaper based on what we have? Because if you don't sit down, do your cost benefit analysis very well. If you don't sit down, know the resources at hand, do market survey, and know what is the prevailing amount, that person will get to the market and get stranded. And if you are a project manager on a particular project, you don't want to give a quotation of 1 million for you to get to the market and discover that things has gone up. Now those things cannot be done until you spend about 1.5 million. You get stranded, you get frustrated. Somebody says, sorry, do you even know what you are doing at all? So while we're trying to beat cost down, we must not sacrifice standard. And that is where the element of risk comes in. Can we reduce the money in a way? Fine. What about the standard? It can still be maintained. Oh, somebody feels, oh, I have decided I want to go to the east, and Luxurious says they're going to collect 12,000 from me. Then I saw this 18-seater buses where you see it in three. They said they will collect 9,500. The time Luxurious will spend from here to the east is going to be about 12 hours. What about small buses? Oh, they are also going to average 11 hours, 30 minutes, and 12 hours, 30 minutes. Great. What about the comfortability? Yes, I should be able to sit down comfortable, stretch my leg a little. Yes. Will there be air condition? Yes, there will also be air condition. So you are still going to get to your destination. However, the money, the financial resources at your disposal teaches you to look for the best alternative without compromising standard. Because if you compromise standard on the ground that we have limited resources, that person will end up becoming penny wise and pound fully. Because by the time that thing comes down crumble, you end up spending more, if not times two, to get it up again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. It's interesting that as you were saying that this stuff comes to mind, and I know that there's always a factor what we call deadlines. So deadlines are not strange to projects and to initiatives. And I'd like to address the issue of deadlines. What are deadlines? How do we achieve meeting or beating deadlines? What are the factors, critical success factors, to making sure that deadline becomes like our best friend? Over to you.
Deadlines are just set dates or set marks when certain things should be done and turned in. The tasks should be done and turned in. That project should be completed. That assignment should be completed. They are everything that has a beginning definitely must have an end, and this is what deadlines are. Now, it's instructive that yesterday we talked about planning and also what tools can help us in planning. There's no way we have a project that we would not need to plan for. There is no way that we want to execute a project that you would not need to plan the different phases of the project. And if it's a one phase project, there's still plans that need to be made. For example, if there are people you need to call, if there are messages you need to send, if there are letters you need to send, it's essential that they are well planned, they are properly planned out, and you have dates and time set to them. Like we said yesterday, you can use your phone calendar, you can use your laptop calendar, any device you have that has a calendar, you can use them to set this deadline such that you don't forget, you're not distracted, you're not sidetracked, and then you cannot meet up with the deadlines. It's very essential that deadlines are met or that deadlines are kept so that the all the critical factors of the projects are in place. For example, in building, I know in building, there are times that if you are constructing a story building and you need to cast concrete, there are specific number of days that you have to leave for it to set. That work is not done at all. If your deadline for handing over a a story building is let's say 90 days, and out of the 90 days you need 30 days for your concrete to set, and then you do not pour concrete until 25 days to the end of the project, it's already certain that you cannot deliver that project, and your client is unhappy, your reputation is at stake. People are beginning to spread, how people can people easily spread negative news than positives. So they're going to go around and say, oh, you see that person, you can't trust them. When they promise on a project, they don't deliver and all of that. You don't want to be that person. That's why it's very essential to set our deadlines. If possible, put it on a calendar, print it out, and put it in a place where everyone who is involved in that project can see it and is reminded that, look, we have a deadline to meet. to meet and to keep on this project as much as possible. You want to deliver before the deadline expires. You don't have to wait until the deadline expires and they start running helter skelter and hitting heads. And at the end of the day, you're delivering a shoddy job, not well done, and still it comes back to say, oh, this person is not good at what they do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If I know Olushola might want to add, but in addition, I'd like to ask a question. What about the concept of Plan B? When we talk about Plan B, how does that apply?
Thank you. Building on what Follow has just said, I think it's better to give some margin due to unforeseen circumstances. If you're supposed to deliver something December 31st, I think it will be better you let your team know that that thing will be delivered maybe December 10, so that you work towards that on the 10th, so that if there will be variation, it can still be accommodated. And we shouldn't also forget that the output on one phase serves as the input for the next phase. So if at the beginning we are not aligning, whatever mistake or whatever additional day we expend on project A will surely affect project, because it is the day we deliver project, the second phase will begin. So we have to factor all that into it, and of course we have to plan B. There are extraneous factors that are beyond us. You don't plan, okay, an engineer is on a job or somebody is supposed to attend to a particular thing, okay, go home, work over the night on it. Or say, okay, I'll send the mail by 12 midnight latest, only for you to hear around the 11:30 that that person has been hospitalized. The laptop is with him, he's been taken to the hospital. How do we? So there will always be plan B. When it is service oriented, there is one thing I've always learned, and that has to do with putting whatever we are doing in the cloud. Send email, even though the email is meant for Finn, but I should copy Rotimi. I should also copy somebody else. For one reason or the other, if Finn didn't see the mail, yes, I will be able. I remember I was to have a presentation in a particular school. I was done. The PowerPoint was ready and all that. So one of the guys following me, he was like, this thing is set on PowerPoint. Why did you also print hard copy? I said, well, I just feel I should print the hard copy. If for no other reason, I will be able to archive it in my file, at least. It's no problem. So we went. Midway into my presentation, there was power outage. Fortunately for me, my hard copy was with me on the podium. My voice was loud enough for the audience to hear me, except that the light went off, and it took some minutes before that thing was restored. So when I was done, he came back to me and said, now I see. Even though I didn't envisage the fact that a particular thing could happen, but I just felt it's not going to cost me anything. Any day, anytime, plan B, plan C is a welcome idea. And here is a sort of information or something that could be of help beyond any other project. Your life is a personal project. And I will always tell students, your result, why don't you put it in your email, send it to your mom, send it to your dad. Oh, you've left Lagos, you are in Abuja. When you landed in Abuja, suddenly you heard that you are supposed to be at an interview the following day. You can't dash back to Lagos. Photocopy of credential, you don't have it. If you have put it in your email and forwarded it to a friend or your parent or somebody, just enter any cafe, print it out. It will serve the purpose. Fire could gut the house. Armed robbers could come. Your file could be displaced or lost. For me, as a person, whatever document I have, you can be sure that document has been replicated 2-3 times somewhere. One in the office, one at home, then one somewhere. My slogan is as I refuse to tell her story. So plan B should be sacrosanct. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. I'd like to, yeah, so much about really successful projects. And sometimes, we have people who have audacious goals. Let's take a step to talk about individuals who have goals that are audacious, goals that are big. What would be your counsel to those people? Should it be that every goal must be small, or what would be our prescription? I think we should hear some feedback of the running audacious goal.
So it was that for me.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch the question.
So I said, what would be your prescription to individuals who are trying to run audacious projects that are big, magnanimous in nature?
Okay, I think what I heard is for people running audacious projects. Wow. Well, what's maybe the first thing for me is what constitutes an audacious project, and to say it is audacious would mean that you're taking on something that is supposedly believed to be beyond your capacity, your natural capacity, or something that you should be able to do um, easily. That would make it an audacious project. But I would say that
Hello. Oh, I
Okay, I
think
was about saying I
yes,
couldn't hear.
the network froze there. Well, I think
So Olusola, do you want to take
having
up that?
yes, having audacious project is good. However, we should be realistic. Um, why it's good to take on pressure? We shouldn't take on unnecessary pressure. You look at it, it's like somebody tells you that don't worry, I'm going to build a one-story building in 1 week. Why it is possible to build a bungalow because the roofing can be done, but you are going to cast cement and whatever in order for you to do the decking. Why you take it on, always have it at the back of your mind that there could be variation and there could be a sort of not meeting up. However, that will have pushed you beyond the normal level you will have been to, if not that you are that audacious. So, while you are doing that, it is good. Factor it in that this thing should not become a white elephant project. If you don't have the resources, don't go out and say, no, this thing had to be done, and you run from pillar to post, incur unnecessary debt, or you go ahead to go and get loan that the interest becomes so killing. So we must be able Yes, there are people who are like face the devil, or they are die hard and they could. Yes, it's good, but don't forget the fact that you are not the only player in the world. You are not the only player within the vicinity of the environment or in the sector. Things happen, and you are not the only one to execute, to initiate and execute the project. It's a process. Yes, you have that audacious mind. You are supposed to contract a particular thing out to a particular consultant. You are supposed to give a face to another professional. Yes, you coordinate and galvanize everything together. Don't forget that you are not the only client. There are some other things to do. And if care is not taken, we become, we pressurize people overly. And in the course of over pressurizing them, mistake could come. And when mistake comes, it's either we make do with that mistake, or else we have to bring everything down and start all over. So that's why people will tell you, please give me breathing space. Let me be able to be as professional as possible. Somebody think he's audacious, but he's trying to tell you to circumvent process. That is not going to be okay. Just because you want to prove a point that we got this thing done in 2 weeks, it's not enough reason to circumvent process, because you'll be told this thing, it will backfire. It may appear okay and everybody will see it and say, oh, lovely, fine. But passage of time will tell that we didn't do concrete thing. It's good to be audacious, but however, it is good to also leave that margin on the flank in the event this didn't turn out as expected. The only thing I see that being audacious will help you to have gone farther than where you used to get to if you had not taken that step. However, you can be audacious, but that does not necessarily mean you are going to get the project done to specification as at the time you intended to do it. Thank you.
Fee, welcome back.
Thank you. My network is craving some
For some moment, I
successful
thought,
business projects, some successful running this evening, and well, I think I probably am right on top of it now.
so can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Because I thought for some moment that you stepped out to get an ice cream delivery.
Please, Rodi, believe this ice cream is Sunday, or else you'll be forced to send ice cream to be delivered to his place. So
I mean,
There
I
will
was
be
yes,
so looking
ice
forward
cream.
to that.
yes. Now you cannot be counting for this much.
Ice cream.
I hmm, no one is talking about the eye and the cream.
The ice cream. If we find it, we'll send to you. Okay, thank you so much. So, just before we end, I think that it would be nice for us to also look at another aspect. Yeah, while we're talking about audacious goals, we talked about so many things. I think that we shouldn't run away from the fact that team formation um, is quite critical. You know, a lot of times we sometimes fail to realize that being able to conceptualize something does not necessarily make it compulsory that that individual who is the visionary must be the active executor or implementing person. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, starting from Fee and then back to Olusola.
Understanding our strengths and weaknesses is very essential as human beings, and especially when it comes to running of projects. I started off saying that I am not very good with figure crunching. I find it quite boring. I'd rather interact with people or get involved in activities that move me around, that take me from place to place, than to stay with figures. So if it happens that I conceptualize an idea that maybe would be more focused on figures and all of that. I already know that this is not my strong area. This is not a strong point for me. I don't have to be the executor so that my name will be there, or people will see me running up and down and being the one on the front pages and being the one, oh, when you call the number, the project number, she's the one that picks it. I'm going to be running the project down. So it's essential for us to understand what we do well and what we do not do very well. And if I don't do something very well and I can quickly learn it and pick it up in time to deliver the project, fine. If I don't have enough time to learn that task or that skill to deliver on the projects that I'm being asked to deliver on, then it's best to just let somebody else who is skilled at it do it. One thing that stands in the way of us fulfilling or successfully executing some of these projects is because one person wants to be everything. And we see this. I'm going to digress a little bit here to talk about, when you meet somebody or you see some people's names and you see all the titles or you see the appellations that come under it. So you see follow MD, CEO, chairman, executive director, and everything just goes, and you're wondering, this one person, pick a struggle. So it's not for us to want to do everything and say, yes, I'm the initiator, I am the executor, I am the project manager, I am the no. Allow your strength to shine through. If your strength is something that is foundational, that people do not see, it does not mean that it doesn't diminish in any way your contribution to that project. So in executing, in initiating an I once heard um I think it's Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika say something about this, that she knows that she is good at initiating, but she's not good at running the ideas. So she initiates it and she looks for the best person who can run it and hands that project over to them. It doesn't matter that her name is not on the front page of all of the projects. It doesn't matter that at commissioning, everybody is not saying that, oh, this is the person that initiated this project. No, what matters is that you are making a difference in your own way. And please stay there, make your difference in your own way, and leave others to shine in their own space also. Thank you.
Olushola, over to you.
Yes, okay, yes. I wanted you to, yes. Great idea there by Finn. I think until we come to that point where we realize, no matter our level of ingenuity, we remain humans. And there are certain things we won't be able to do. And that's why collaboration, team spirit, it is even said in Holy that two are better than one. Until we get to that point where the selflessness is there. But the challenge we seem to have is that when it comes to project, even before the project starts, for majority, the first thing that comes to what is my gain in this? I think that in a way affects uh, our psyche, it affects our body language, and it affects the way we go about doing things. Because if I'm not seeing up and down, I won't be able to get the chunk of the benefit or the gains coming. And until we realize that there are people, we have our own strength, people know us for that, and they give us our space to be able to board and a sort of achieve. If we initiate something, you may be seeing it vaguely, but somebody who has depth or expertise in that, by the time you lay it before that person is able to add a sort of icing on the cake and it beautifies it. So we should realize who we are, know our strength, and stay on that thing. Be a man of one purpose. It doesn't mean you cannot dabble into different things, but you have had other people around the other professionals, they are sort of gifts to your life. So I think until you come to that point where we become so we are selfless, and we don't want our trumpet to be blown every now and then. Even there are people whose trumpet are blown up and down, and they are not the one who executed the project. A typical lecturer in Nigeria, and after the undergraduate or postgraduate student has gone done the research, you have succeeded, is even giving the boy 60 or 70, only for you to pick out of that research 2 3 papers published in international journal. You didn't put the boy or the guest name. Incidentally, that thing was not copyrighted, or it was not patented, so there was no patent on it. Does the student even have a gut to come and meet and say, sir, I saw this in international journal, but that has actually, I would say, in your life, which math did you? And they do it and they sleep over it. You didn't do this work only for you to be getting credit for the work not done. That is even another worse scenario. So until, I think it's a mindset thing. Everybody wants to be seen, everybody wants to be heard. A lot of collaboration will have taken place. Great project will have been birthed. There will have been a great solutions across different sectors. But it's big I, small you. I know, because I'm the initiator, even though you are the one that has the expertise, I'm giving you 20%, okay, I take 80%, and before you know it, that begins to come to another challenge. Is that the person who you think has the expertise, because you don't have strength in that area, by the time you share your idea, only for the person to run away with the thing. The next thing is that you hear the thing in time that it has been executed, and they have thrown you into the dustbin. Of course, as much that you don't want people to mention your name up and down, it shouldn't mean that the person who executed the project should not take over the ownership and throw you out as if you are nobody. These are the different sizes and shapes to what I think drives people's attitude to the issue of a project, collaboration, team spirit, and what have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. On that note, we'll have to call it a day. The weekend special on the Good Morning Education Show. And there you have it. Thank you to those who joined us. Thank you, Osai, all the way from Edo State. Thank you for those who joined and did not mention their name. We'd like to appreciate you. Thank you, Ola. Thank you, Fifo. And I'd like to end with an interesting, how do I put it? With an interesting statement as we close. You know, life is like ice cream, and you need to enjoy it before it melts. You know, and for some people, you know, you need to understand that stress spelled backwards is also actually achieved as dessert. As you run projects and try to run successful projects, you know, treat life like ice cream. Enjoy it before it melts. Make sure you don't melt your project. Make sure you enjoy it just like ice cream. So ice cream, we scream, we all scream for ice cream. Thank you so much. As we end the show today, we will be ending with our usual mantra. And some people are just basking in the prayer. So at the count of two, 1, 2, go. It's
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 always
always
always a great
time,
great
morning,
great
day,
day, a
a
great
great
great day
morning,
on the Good
and a
Morning
a
great
great
Education
time
breakfast.
for ice cream.
Show.
Um,
I'm waiting
I'm
for my
very
ice
sure
cream.
if he is going
bye.
to have yes, you're going to have a rematch.
I'm
This
waiting
one that
for
has
my
happened
ice cream.
today, there must be a
Yes.
rematch.
My next
Bye.
story will be from a cafe.